I'm not really interested in upholding the white man's democracy as much anymore.
Imagination's a privilege.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Imagination is a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. I'm always trying to convince, even I can be dead wrong and I'm still going to try to convince you to my position till I figure out I'm wrong and be like, my bad.
Right.
But
You said there's always space for our work and not space for our needs. And I think that is kind of where I am right now. I'm not really interested in upholding the white man's democracy as much anymore, but I am interested in protecting my people. The challenging part is those two things
Yes,
go
they
hand
do.
in hand. Should this democracy fall, my people will fall
That's it.
first and suffer the most.
That's it.
Should something bad happen, it will be worse for us. So how we can meet in the middle. And the thing is, when we win, the country wins.
Yeah, that's right.
When we do well, the country does well. So, and I haven't figured that out. So I'm this conversation is a bit premature for me because I haven't even been reading like I used to.
It is not only a privilege to sort of imagine, but it is also a privilege to be able to think outside of yourself, to have considerations outside of yourself, and then next to yourself, your house and home.
But it's also, it's not, imagination is absolutely a privilege. It was chilling when you said that. But it's also necessary. Like,
It's a
there is
requirement
no
for movement.
way
Yes.
for us to be a
It's a
truly
requirement.
liberated people without imagination. We
requirement.
have to believe there is
Agreed.
another way. We have to.
Agreed.
There's a book called How to Get to Yes. We have to get to yes. And I know it is so hard when systemically you see over and over. We see over and over. There is no other way out. Our freedom, I was talking to my book editor yesterday, but our freedom is literally the way that we view freedom as Black people. When I say we, I'm talking about Black folks. We see it within the context of oppression. We don't see freedom outside of, I just want to live. I just want to survive. I just want to be left alone. You know, even in the moments where our freedom has just been leaving us alone, that has been in the context of the trauma that is resulting from slavery and oppression and being a stolen people. So it's hard to talk about imagination when our existence has been shaped through the lens of trauma.
It was Carter G. Woodson who says, if you tell a man to go to the back door, and if he goes to the back door and there is no back door, he will cut one out for its special purpose. Why? Because its education makes it necessary. This was him framing the Black man, right? We know to go to the back door. And if there is no back door, we will cut one out. Create that back door there because our education, the way we have been taught through life, through generation, through the ancestors, this is our proper place. And if we had the ability, the freedom to extricate ourselves from that and to imagine not in juxtaposition to the conditions that we have lived in, but in relationship to nothing except our highest hopes and dreams for ourselves, and let it go from there. And there's still extrication that will have to be done even at that point, because the blood is so deep. The soil is wet from the blood of our ancestors, even still. The contrast to what's different is always going to be by the means of what already exists.
Yeah, that's true.
So your ability to think about what's different is almost always going to be juxtaposed to what exists versus what if we had a blank slate?
Yeah.
What if there was no before this? And then what might I create? Because I might not have a 5-day work week if I were dealing from scratch. I might not, the world might not exist that my healthcare be tied to a job that I have. That my retirement and pension is tied to a place where I work versus my existence on this earth entitles me to a certain set of things. And then a structure gets built to then support that. So you're so right about the hostage, but also the imprisonment of our minds that exist, and without even our knowing. In truth, the reason why, Tiffany, what you said is true, is so true, that when Black people do well, the country does well, is because we and this is where the exhaustion comes in. We oftentimes have to fight the hardest and the longest for what it is that we get. And when we do get it, everybody else in the pecking order has already gotten it first. We're just, should we be in the fight for an expansion of rights, for an expansion of opportunity? That very rarely, if ever, are you going to see that expansion be limited just to our community. In fact, I don't know a policymaker out there who's going to say that the expansion is limited to just that group. When we fight for it and it's won, it is a win that everyone gets the benefit in the largest of. Take affirmative action, for instance. The reason why this tide lifts all boats is because we're at the damn crest of it. And so, it dives down. They're at the apex. They're at the peak of it. We're the thing that dives in first.